Be the Light.
Hey y'all, welcome back.
I'm Felicia.
And I'm Keanna.
All right, sis.
Alright, so we are back at it, y'all, with part 2 of What's Your Story. So last time we were together, Felicia was asking me about my childhood and if I went to church as a kid, and so that was really interesting.
It was.
I played back that and I laughed the same laughs from the first time.
Listen.
I didn't realize how hysterical that was. I was like, girl, you was looking for the Holy Spirit.
Come on.
And it was a thing. It was so real, y'all. And so we're jumping right in. I'm going to ask Felicia those same questions about her childhood, and I can't wait to hear all about it. And if she grew up in church, honey, because you would think she did, honey. She is the first lady.
Wow.
So we're jumping right in.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Okay, so did I grow up in church?
Yes.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, when I was with my grandmother, my grandparents. No, when I was with my mom.
Okay.
Right? So growing up for me, I grew up in the hood. So I grew up in the projects without knowing I grew up in the projects. You know what I mean? Like it was legit one of those type of things. And so Kashibo. So I grew up in Woodland City, right? And so Woodland City was just like home, right? So I didn't necessarily, like, I knew we had shootouts. Like, you been outside playing hopscotch and girl, and you just knew to drop down and that was that, right?
The fact that you knew to do that, like, that's just part of our daily life.
You just knew to just drop down. You know what I'm saying? Literally, right? You just no, okay, we ain't done. They still shooting. We ain't getting up. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, as a kid, because all my friends were there, everybody likes to come over to our house. I didn't look at it as the hood. You know what I'm saying? It was just home, right? So I grew up with my mom and my sister. My dad was not in the picture until later. And we just lived life, right? We lived life, Keanna, until about, I'll say about maybe 7 or so, 7 years old or so. So my sister was like 5. Found out my mom was diagnosed with full-blown AIDS. So what that looked like was,
I don't think you've ever shared that with me.
Yeah, full-blown AIDS, right? So this is back in the 90s where we are absolutely oblivious to how you can contract this disease and what this disease really looks like. I think because it was so long ago, but I remember vividly just seeing, like, on the news, like pictures of, like, monkeys, right? Because monkeys brought the disease from Africa and things like that. And so it was pretty real. Yeah. And so they knew that it had to be some type of blood something, but again, they just associated it with, like, monkeys and all types of stuff, right? And so my mom kept that from us, right? And I get it, she's a mom, so she kept it from us. But I remember distinctively one day going to my grandmother's house and my granny saying, like, I need to talk to you. And immediately, like, I knew this wasn't, like, a good talk, right? And I was thinking in my head as a kid, like, did I do something? Wait a minute, I didn't do nothing. I ain't even been over here. So I couldn't have done that. So I'm like 7, maybe transitioning to 8 at this time. Yeah, because they hid it from us for a long time. So backtrack real quick. My mom had, like, this long Louis Vuitton purse. Like, that joker was long, literally about that long, right? And it just zipped. Keanna, it was long, fam. Filled with medications. Like, no lie, at least anywhere from like 16 to 20 medications. No lie. You would have thought she was the biggest pusher there was, right? So I remember even prior to, hence how we're getting back to this, because I know that was like a whirlwind. But she got pulled over one time, and my mom didn't drive. I don't know if she could drive, but I know she didn't drive, right? So she got pulled over. Well, they got pulled over. She was with somebody. They got pulled over, and they searched the car, and they saw all her medications, right? And they are all prescribed to my mother. And so the police is like, what? Why you got so much medicine on you? And all this stuff. And so, like, it was this really big ordeal. And so my mom ended up having to call, well, the police ended up calling my grandmother so my grandmother could, like, vouch for my mom stating that no, she really is sick. She has to have this medication. So there was this huge ordeal. So our doctor had to write like a letter, an official letter stating like if she does get stopped or whatever that looks like she is permitted, if you will, to have all this medicine.
Okay.
So hence my grandmother now decided like, yeah, this is the time to have this conversation. And so my grandmother pulls me in, and I honestly cannot remember if it was just myself or it was my sister, but I know for a fact it was me and my grandmother. So I want to say it was just me and her. So she pulls me in and she just kind of sits me like on her knee-ish type, and she's like, Mookie, we need to talk. And so I'm like, yes ma'am, okay. So she then tells me that my mom is really sick, which we noticed, you know, because we noticed like she wasn't doing the certain mom things, because my mom is like, I am a reflection of my mother, for real. I am goofy, I am childish in my own little way, you know what I'm saying? I am energetic, but I'm also very reclusive, you know what I'm saying? So I'm this extrovert, but I'm also this introvert, and so I am really like a reflection, if you will, of her and her character and her personality, and just her weirdness, you know what I'm saying? And so a lot of that started to like really dwindle really fast, because again, going back, all these medicines were like trial and error, right? So they didn't know what combinations would work with what, and how this would look. They truly did not know. So a lot of this stuff was working like with her body but against her body. Turns out my mom, so sickle cell trait runs in our family, so she had I want to say just a trait, not sure if she had full-blown sickle cell or not, but I know she had a trait of sickle cell. Then I was told that there was like a certain cancer, like a certain cancer also kind of like connected in that as well. So it wasn't necessarily leukemia back then, but it was a certain type of a cancer. So all of these medications, all of this stuff, and I started to see how that was just taking an effect and a toll on her body, right? I started to see how it was taking a toll on her strength and her mental ability to just like really formulate sentences, because this medication and her being medicated for so many hours throughout the day was taking her speech, you know what I'm saying, to where it was super slurred and things of that nature. And so we saw it. But, you know, what do you say, you know, as a child to your mom, like, you ain't fun no more, you know what I'm saying?
I'm picturing it all in my head.
So she would just lay in her bed. She would, I think moms and parents in general just always ask their kids for stuff, like, go give me the remote, or,
of course,
you know, go give me this, or, hey, can you bring me that? And it's like, but you just came out of there. But anyway, so she did those things, but it was like super heightened at this moment, right? So it got from, can you give me some water, to help me to the bathroom, right? So when everything shifted and the paradigm was like, okay, she's sick and it's pretty real, you're gonna see some stuff on TV about it, not about mom, but about what she has. Don't let it scare you. So as a child being told not to be scared, I think the very thing you go into is fear.
It's fear.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing you permitted me not to go. That's the boundary you told me not to cross, but that's the very thing I'm going to cross, right? Adam and Eve. So, so I was immediately terrified. And I remember feeling like, thank you, Father. I remember feeling like I did not want to be left alone with her, because I did not know what that would look like from day to day, right? So I didn't know if she would be zombie mom or if we would actually have a conversation, right? So I didn't know, I just truly didn't know what it looked like. So I remember staying, because I was the first grandchild, first of all, and I'm a girl. So I was always at my grandparents' house, always at my mama's house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally, and like the school I went to was like right dab, like almost in the middle, right? And so it was walking distance from both my mom's house and my grandmother's house. I was closer to the school at my grandmother's house, but I was still within good walking distance from my mom's house. So I would just fluctuate, right? But I remember at times I would want to be with my mom, and there were those times where I was like so scared, like, no, don't leave me here with her, just by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And back in the day, we had phones, but we didn't have phones.
Right.
So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if we always had a phone, then maybe I would have felt a little better. But we didn't always have a landline phone, right? And so I remember my granny making me and my sister learn her phone number, right? Her phone number. And so doing that was the number I knew to call. And so she was like, you know, you just call me and I'm coming, you know. And so that was some relief, but it wasn't the same as that presence, like I need you here physically, right? So in this time of maybe about 7.5, so in this time, the atmosphere in my world just completely shifted, right? So find out my mom is sick, find out that there's really, quote unquote, no cure for this disease. Find out that what this leads up to is the very thing that I've never experienced, which is death, right? And so what does this look like? You know what I'm saying? I've known you to only have life in your body. Like, I don't know you to not have life in your body. So I'm really not understanding how this is going to work. Like, how long is she going to have? Is she suffering? Is her life about to end right now? Like, what truly does this look like? And so, with just all of that being said, my grandmother never stopped us from going to church. We always went to church. Even if my mom didn't go, we went to church, right? So in the midst of all of this, faith is now really being the foundation of my, I'm going to say religionship at that time, because that's what it was. That's really being the foundation of my relationship with my father. And not really knowing how we're going to get to the next step. So with that being said, the more the disease started to progress, the weaker she got. So without being super graphic, like, I would have to change her. Right? So we got to the point where we could no longer like hurry up and get her to the restroom. So we had to like make sure that, she had things where, if something happened, like, we was gonna put you in the tub, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we did. And I remember one particular night that she had an accident, and I'm sorry. And she cried so hard. From embarrassment, from disappointment, from just knowing that like she was placing all this responsibility on me that she didn't necessarily want to do. And so I remember like helping her get in the tub and trying to see her struggle to get back out of it. You know what I'm saying? And so like I literally had to get in the tub with her to help her. And so I used to like, we'll talk about that later, but like my weight has always been something like I've always struggled with. But in that moment, like looking back, like I realized like God had to have me to have bigger shoulders so that I could help her to get up, right? And we struggled, fam, because she a kid. But we got her up, you know what I'm saying? And to just see that frustration in her eyes, Keanna, and to see that disappointment, like it was breaking my heart every day. So I remember praying and asking God to just take her. Like, you don't have to leave her here for me. You don't have to leave her here for my sister. Like, we'll be okay. Just take her so she doesn't have to feel this. Like, I don't want her to go through this pain, right? Sorry. And so, I remember having those conversations, but again, still going to church, still smiling, still trying to really figure out what this whole God thing is. What does this look like? Like, how are you here? How are you with me, but I can't see you? I know that you're here, but what does that really, truly, seriously look like? And so, really walking out what it is to truly walk by faith and not by sight, right? Just trusting that you're here, like you got this. my mom never talked to us about Jesus. She never really talked to us about a lot of religion. So I thank God for my grandparents, because I really got it a lot from there. And I'm not saying my mama didn't believe. I'm just saying that was not a big part of our conversation, right? And so grateful that God knows exactly what to give us when we need it. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to like really, like the Bible says that the veil has been torn from our eyes, has been ripped from our eyes. Like he really knows how to show us that in the most purest way of purity, right? Yeah. Like even to a 7.5, 8-year-old girl, you can show me like the veil has been ripped from my eyes, and we're not just going to church to just go to this building. No, we're going to draw, you know, and we're going to release, and we're going to worship, and we're going to praise, and we're going to get fed. And so that was that time as far as childhood goes. And I remember because you said something that like really aha'd me. You said you immediately knew we're going to need clothes that need to be clean. We're going to need basically food. You know what I'm saying? We need to go to bed because we're going to have to get up early. Like you immediately went into those instincts. And that's exactly what happened after my mom died.
Wow.
That's why I was like, this is so good on so many different levels.
And the whole time while you're talking, I'm sitting here, and all I keep thinking in my head is 7, 8 years old. 7, 8 years old. And I'm reflecting what you were walking through, because you're a little bit older than me, not by much. But
she older.
And I'm thinking back to how that alignment again, because we're sitting here before you today with Be the Light, not really knowing what that story of our lives looked like until before now. And I was faced with poverty and single mom and being the oldest of 3 siblings. However, pretty much around the same age of your life, you were dealing with
the same
sickness, poverty,
being an older sister, a single mom,
taking on those same instincts, which I'm just sitting here just like, it's, I don't know, I'm speechless right now because at the same time, one, I never knew how your mom passed. I don't think you ever shared that until today. And so I'm just like, my God, it hit me harder. It hit me in a way because, yes, I know that, especially with Mother's Day coming up, how tough that is for you. But I don't know, it's something about knowing the details of your story and knowing what part did Felicia play. Like, where did God have you as the older sister, as the one? And you know, as being the oldest, we love our mama. Like, we are our mama's backbone. Even with those in those age gaps, 7, 8 years old, you would think so. I mean, but we do. We're like, whatever you need. And just hearing your mom's side of things, you know, that frustration, that guilt, that disappointment, that she let you down. That's tough, sis. I mean, that's tough in a sense that she was walking in an uncontrollable situation. However, you was trying to control it by being everything for her. So overcompensation as an adult. People pleasing. That nurturing side of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are all things I have to lay down at the altar. I thank God for deliverance for people pleasing. I thank him so much for it. But just trying to be good enough, you know what I'm saying? Perfection. I've been told like you try to be perfect, you know, as an adult. And I know we're talking about children, but just seeing how what we go through can really shape who we become, right? And so it was something because you said the fact that like she let me down and I was disappointed. God didn't show me that until like a year ago. And like he showed me so much more out of the beginning, right? Because it's all about the beginning. And I was so mad at him. Keanna, I was infuriated with him. Like the one person, fam, that you could have taken, that's who you take. Like you could have took me. Like you didn't have to take her, you know. And
And just knowing that there was so much that I never got to ask. There was so much that we never got to experience. There was so much that I had to learn on my own. There was just so much about me that I had to figure out.
Walk with me on the timeline of events. So you were about 7 or 8 when you had to talk with your grandmother that mom is sick. How far in between did your mom pass away?
7 or 8, have this talk. 9, she passes.
So a little over a year, maybe?
A little over a year. So 9 years old, my mama's funeral was the very first funeral I go to. 9 years old, I'm in this church thinking you gotta be strong, right? Like you can cry at 9, like you can cry, but we can't be just like,
we can't lose it.
We can't lose it. Like we gotta really keep it together. Because mind you, I'm not the only one suffering loss. I got a little sister beside me. You know what I'm saying? I got a little sister beside me who's now 7.
Yeah.
Who don't remember half of the stuff that I'm talking about today. So you gotta be strong for her. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, but you got a grandmother who's just lost her oldest daughter, who is her only daughter, who's the oldest child. Right? So you gotta be strong for her too. You got an uncle over here who loves your mama like nobody's been. Like you gotta be strong for everybody around you. At 9. Wow. You got a cousin back there who they've been thick as thieves. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be strong for them. And I remember feeling like that at 9. I remember at about, I'll say between 9 and 10, maybe 11, I wrote a prayer to the Lord and I said, maybe 9. And I wrote a prayer and I said, I don't ever want to do anything on earth that will shame my mama before you in heaven. So that's so good and so deep on so many different levels. Because number 1, that's at 9. Number 2, I did not realize the trajectory of how that would play in my life. Like I really didn't realize like how that would shape my life, my thoughts, my actions, my words, my concerns, my friendships, you know what I'm saying? Some of my life events, did not realize what that looked like for me, right? So what I mean by that is I am holding myself accountable to this mark that I will never ever reach, right? But I am literally striving with a V for this mark instead of striding, just walking with God. Striding with the D as in dog, walking with my daddy, allowing him to just show me which way to go. But I'm like, I'm gonna reach this mark, and when I don't reach it, I feel the worst about myself. I feel super low. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like, I can't bounce back from this. I feel like I'm not worthy, you know, and so there's self-doubt, there's self-worth, all these issues of just what this looks like, right? At 9, not realizing what I was saying, but the enemy knew, and so he planted these seeds of, I'm gonna make you feel some type of deception. And it really structured a lot of my adolescent years. And my teenage years. 16, I remember writing yet another prayer because I've learned that God has given me the gift of writing. But I learned, I wrote another prayer, Keanna, and I don't know if I told you this one, but I literally asked God to blacken my heart. Like I need it to be black as stone. I don't need it to be flesh. I don't need it to be soft. I don't need it to have a heart. I don't need it to have a pulse for people because I'm sick of people. And I'm sick of the way people do me. And I'm sick of being a doormat for people. And I'm sick of how people come in my life just to hurt me. Like I'm sick. I'm tired of hurt. I'm sick of hurt. Sick of it, right? I need you to blacken my heart. If I'm gonna say another prayer, that's the prayer I want you to answer. Blacken this joker. Take it out. Do whatever you want to do with it. She don't want it no more. That was my posture at 16, right? Didn't realize how much anger I was really outpouring due to the fact of what I had gone through and what my life was looking like, right? I was sick of rejection. I was sick of being an orphan. Like I was sick of not being good enough. I was sick of comparing myself to other people and to other families. I was sick of seeing people with their mama and disrespect their mama. Like I was sick of it, right? Sick of it. So just blacken my heart so that I don't have to feel anything. He didn't do it.
Of course not.
He didn't do it.
Of course.
And so in the midst of all of this, she's still in church. She's still in church. She was baptized at about 12.
Okay.
10 to 12, somewhere up in there. So she's still going to church. Her faith is still there. But like it's like up under all this stuff that it's not even catching roots or nothing, because it can't really spread out to like really grasp to anything, which was so crazy because I was the one that people went to every day in school to get encouragement, to get something from God, to get a prayer, to get a hug, to get a smile. I legit, and that's my right hand to God. That's not me puffing myself up. That's in the midst of my misery. God is pulling out mission. In the midst of misery, he's pulling out mission. Because he needs me to recognize, even as a young girl, it's bigger than you. This is bigger than you. What you're going through is so much bigger than you. And people aren't attracted to your darkness because that's not who you are. They really are attracted to your light. Not knowing that I'm praying and talking people up and getting people off ledges, literally talking people down off of a ledge, that I too need somebody to talk me off this joker too. Like, fam, we on here together. You ready to jump? Because I'm ready.
Wow.
So, childhood,
what year was that, sis, that your mom passed?
94.
Wow.
She passed at 30.
Wow.
Yeah, 1994. Yeah,
Wow.
So
94,
fam. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 94. So,
you know, God never ceases to amaze us, and what's really on my heart is, as you're sharing, my mom's oldest brother, Eddie, who my baby brother is named after, he passed away from AIDS in 97.
wow.
The first death that I had encountered at the age of 7, I was 7.
My sister's age.
And what's so crazy about your story and just hearing all this for the first time, I'm just like, my God. Here, just moments before, I'm talking about the woman of blood, 12 years, that aligned with the daughter who was 12 years old. And I think about the alignment, and I think about the things that God has what he's truly placed on your heart. And yes, you're right. You were in mission while you were in misery. Because your darkness, I think back to times that we don't want to go no more. We're at our wit's end.
Yeah.
And you can't deny that light, because you know why? Because you didn't place it there.
I did.
So you can't. You could be sitting in a pitch black room right now, mad at the world. You still gonna glow. You gonna be a beacon of light in that room. Somebody gonna come in, they gonna see you sitting there in that dark room.
Wow.
And whether you like it or not, that's what God utilizes that time. Like we box ourselves up, we mold ourselves to what we want.
Yeah.
And God is like, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
It says that, man, that is just so, man, that's powerful. And you talked about instincts with me, and there you are, instinctively,
Man.
in mama role.
Yeah.
Because mom's not here no more. So I got you, sis. Right?
Yeah.
And that's discipleship. That's truly, I mean,
Yeah.
my God.
He needed me to be super intentional about that, because it wasn't just my sister, but what came after her was a cousin who was going to now be raised in the same household as me and my sister. So he wanted me to truly be that light for the young women. You know what I'm saying? To let them know, or to let us know that we're more than what we settle for. Right?
Yeah.
So
I can't truly wait to dive into this more. I mean, we truly just ran out of time, y'all. I mean, we're going to go deeper.
Yeah,
I mean, what we have coming up next, it is way deeper than this. And I cannot wait till next time. So, again, guys, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram account at @bee.THELIGHT. You can check us out on our website at www.youbethelight.com. Check us out on our podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Google Play, and YouTube, guys, you know.
Right here.
So
sure.
check us out.
Yeah.
Leave comments, hit the like, subscribe. Definitely know what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Send us your prayer requests,
Please.
anything that we could just be praying with you for. Send it our way.
Comment.
Yeah.
So
This isn't goodbye. This see you later, guys.
be courageous, be committed, be consistent. I went blank. Be consistent and
Be you.